I read this like it's on the page.
Live on the mic. Five, four, three.
Welcome everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It's Lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 196 is entitled At the Movies. More often than not, movies depict terrible emotional responding. This week at the table, we are going to be going over where the movies get it right and occasionally wrong. So please pull up a seat and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or watch us live or later at youtube.com/lunchtime in Rome. Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, you can take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it would be great if you gave us a 5-star review. Jay, what's this podcast about?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That is how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 minutes of the podcast, and we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is lunchtime in Rome. Sitting in tonight for Eric and Chris are Eric and Chris.
It's a Christmas miracle. Yeah, we're both here.
Welcome back.
And there was a moment that, like, this week, I was like, man, if I could get somebody else to sit in. But I'm glad I'm here, because sometimes you get those moments of, like, I really don't want to do it, you know. But then, like, when you're here and you're sitting here, you're like, I'm glad I'm here, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you're in a tough place because, like you said at the end of last week, after we were off the air, you know, that you would love to just do tech and to build up, you know, sound clips.
So does everybody listening. That's not true.
But the irony is, and Amy was the first to say it, she's like, no, I really like hearing you on the mic.
And I appreciate that.
Just so talented.
But I do want to do more of the production, which I do, which what I would need to, like, get on and be more hands-on with the tech as I learn it and get comfortable with it, so I can do it while I'm on the show. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, so we'll get there. But yeah, it's been
a week, been a month this week.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit Maggie's birthday, though.
Oh man, it's
the finish line.
All gonna come together.
When's the last time I'll bring that up? Maybe next year.
Hopefully never.
Oh.
But okay, we're working. But it's been a crazy week. The sunflower sprouts consignment sales going on, which Amy's involved with. I'm involved with, and it's going really great.
Second show up in Erie in April.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Open up another sale. And so far it's like the biggest sale they've had. So it's awesome. And
I love that because it's just people who had an idea and are making it work, and hopefully they're making money.
What is that exactly? I mean, I know it's consignment.
They sell sunflowers.
Yeah. It's
all kinds.
It's a
just the sprouts.
It's a pop-up consignment sale that, so people like us, you know, parents that have things that their kids have outgrown. So we sell Maggie's clothes and her old toys that she doesn't play with anymore. So Amy will gather all that stuff up, put it in their system, tag it, and then she puts it literally at the Pittsburgh Indoor Sports Arena on their, you know, indoor soccer fields, laid out like in different sections, and people can go and buy Amy's stuff, but Amy doesn't have to be there while people are going and shopping.
So Amy has to take everything over though and put it out where it needs to go.
Yeah, there's different places on the, like, all toys that make sound go here, all the bikes go here, all strollers, all, you know, it's all kids stuff.
Has it always? How many years has she done this, or have you guys done this?
I think this is Amy's third sale.
Has it been going on longer than that?
Oh yeah.
I guess okay. Because my question is, I thought it used to be like Amy had to be there. Is the tech part of it newer?
The tech part,
like the fact that it's all online.
That's the way it's always been. But then Amy will go work it, because if you go work and volunteer, you get more money of your sale. Like you only make a certain percentage of your sale.
Gotcha.
And then they get the rest. But if you work it, then you get more money for for the stuff that you sell.
And it's still a better deal than like taking your stuff to play it again, children.
Oh, by far. Yeah, by far. And
half price books.
You know, it's better than a garage sale because you have hundreds of people coming and shopping. You know, it's crazy.
The kids are the sunflowers. I get it now, right? They're the sunflowers.
Sure.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And because they have sprouted.
They're sprouting.
They're
as
no
we
longer
speak.
needed.
I don't know.
Birthday doc. So that's been all crazy, and the week has been the week was long yesterday, and today was a marathon. Well, I had to go. So I went to McCullough Tire. Shout out to McCullough Tire, the best tire in Pittsburgh. I had a slow leak in one of my tires. Took it there, and I said, we might as well rotate the tires while we're here. Came out, there was a little bit of a nail stuck in the tire. And I was like, all right, great. And I was like, what do I owe? He's like,
nothing.
Get out of here. And I was like, my man, because they know I'm going to come back and get tires there. They know it.
Best.
They are the best. And I was in and out, came back home, took Maggie to preschool, went down because we had an in-office
you did that
day.
before preschool.
Yeah, dude.
God.
Well, how else are you going to get in?
That's true.
You know what I mean? They're so busy. You got to go early.
I walked in there and they're like, nope.
Yep.
There's no,
Thank you.
There's no appointments.
Yeah.
You got to wait in a line.
Yeah.
And it's still the best.
Right, exactly. And as long as you know the system, you're good to go. But then in office day, came home, went to Sunflower Sprouts, and now we're here. So it's just been boom, boom, boom all day. But like I said, it was one of those moments where I was like, man, I'm gonna have a long Wednesday. Am I gonna want to do this? Yes, I do want to be here because tonight's topics is really fun. The movies, I love movies, and I'm excited to talk about Jay's favorite movie, Chef, later on. So
I've never seen it. Look forward to it.
Well, my update. Well, here the reason I wasn't on last week, I had such a beautiful Wednesday set up. Think back, boys. Think back to a week ago.
Disc golf, man.
Weather was beautiful last Wednesday, and I was itching for some after-school disc golf or early evening disc golf, and then podcast with you boys. But it got ruined by Amy. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say by Amy's dad, but that's not at all fair. It was actually he was sick and ended up being hospitalized. He's okay. End of the story. He's fine. It's not his fault. But he had an anemic condition. I don't know if I want to call it anemia, but whatever. He had a low iron count, etc., and ended up having to be admitted. Jay, you talk a lot about your thyroid numbers. Like yours were like 0
between 1 and 5, and it was 212.
Yours was 212, which is crazy. His whatever the numbers are supposed to be with your
his iron count came back cotton.
Yeah, it was it's supposed to be 200, and his was 5. Yeah, right. Yeah, something like that. So they kind of saved his life, honestly. If he had kept going, and I don't know why he wasn't. That's a whole nother story of why he.
Pretty hard to hear all that and say, all right, honey, I'm hitting the links.
Yeah, so there you go.
Good luck with that,
So
huh?
exactly. So I spent my Wednesday with my wonderful Amy and
supporting her.
Yeah, supporting and going to the hospital. And
sometimes emotional needs are a burden.
Oh.
Because isn't this someday you just want to be that douchebag? It's like, nope, I'm going to play. I don't
keep me updated, honey, 'cause I care.
It's in my phone calendar. I have to go. But so that sort of took up some time last Wednesday. However, this Wednesday, today, I decided I've been watching those. He's called the Spin Doctor. YouTube.
Oh yeah, you sent the
disc golf guy. Yeah, and he I'm just gonna call him Scandinavian because
go ahead now.
Yeah, because it's Spin Doctors.
Oh yeah, just. But anyway, been watching his videos.
Oh yeah,
so happy because I feel like he simplifies things, dumbs it down for people like me. And I went to the church and was just throwing across the parking lot today. I only threw 10 discs, but I did 50 times through my footwork of my form, right? And then, after I did it several times, I would then, throw a disc. I'm not saying I'm throwing super far, but man, was I getting spin on those discs. And I had things flying straight for me that normally would just be too overstable.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my release was scattershot. I was not at all about the aiming today, right? So some of them looked really good, some of them were too high. But the low ones, the ones that would skip across the parking lot, man, did they skip because I had,
'Cause
I'm
you had that
telling
extra
you,
spin on
yeah,
it,
I
yeah.
had the extra spin, and it was
Yeah.
like bam, 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 like skipping a stone across the water. It was awesome.
And when you watch the pros, like on their approach shots, like if they're like coming in hot,
Yeah.
they get that skip that like I don't get that,
Right?
Because of that spin,
And
because
then
it's moving so
their
fast.
disc will even it'll
Stop
land
and
to the
keep
grass
spinning.
and just be spinning in
Yeah.
place for a few seconds. It's
Yeah.
crazy the
Yeah,
amount
ours
of spin.
stopped spinning like halfway in its flight.
yeah,
He just
Yeah.
kind of wilts to
Yeah.
the ground.
Just a duck flying in the air.
So I'm really excited. This is just a first step in me fixing my form, but man, did it feel good as like a
Be ready
first
for the
step.
disc golf vacation.
Oh man,
We
I
got to
am.
get that on the books, boys.
Yeah, we do.
So that's me in a nutshell. Feeling good.
That's awesome.
Me in a nutshell.
Man,
We were just talking about
this is
that.
the second Austin
Yeah.
Powers reference tonight.
Were talking right before we went on about. You asked me about how was rehearsal last night at church.
Yeah.
And overall, April's going to be a really busy month for us.
Yeah.
It's Lex's birthday month. We're taking Ethan to a college visit next week.
Rochester.
Yeah, next Friday, next Thursday and Friday. It'll be a nice
crazy.
family time. It should be a nice family time.
What's in Rochester?
Rochester Institute of Technology?
No
RIT.
kidding.
RIT, yeah.
Yeah, that's big leagues.
Big
man.
theater program.
Yeah, yes. And like production and stuff like that, which is what Ethan wants to do.
It's so funny because like you're like big. I was like, I've never heard of it.
RIT?
Yeah, I've never
Oh,
heard of it.
man.
I've heard of
Some
MIT.
peop- some people
They
call
also
it
make dyes.
RIT.
Yeah, I'm excited for him.
Clothing dyes.
I'm excited to learn more
DYE.
as you guys learn more about it.
I think it's interesting that he's in 10th grade and is already wanting to do this. You know,
Yeah.
he hangs out with most of his friends are seniors. So he's been talking about how he's, already has that senior mindset, which I think is fantastic for him. Because I didn't start really thinking about college till like halfway through my senior year. And, so I just love where his head's at with this. And so it'll be a nice experience. But yeah, April's going to be very busy. Easter. But at church, this month, I'm going to be 3 9 o'clock services leading, and then 2 services leading worship. I'm on drums twice, and I'm playing the bass.
That's 7 weeks.
So again, Chris warned me. He's like, if you need some to alter this in any way, but I'm up for it.
That is a lot, and I appreciate because I know we're off because we're gonna be like I have Maggie this Sunday, and then we're gonna be up in Erie later on in the month. So we're
Yeah.
out of town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I very much appreciate you.
Yeah, and I'm working on my trench up at the pool. I got about halfway done of where I want it to be, like the depth wise. My dad came over and helped me on Sunday, and he's 72, so I give him all the credit. But he lasted for about 20 solid minutes.
About how long I'd last.
20 more than I would have.
Yeah, I mean,
Did he leave or did he just quit digging?
he just kept slowing down.
He just fell in.
I would
laid
say
there.
he was maybe there for an hour, but like aggregate, he was probably 20 minutes. Which is, I mean, I didn't even like. I'm glad he came over, but I didn't even care. Whatever. So, so there's that. And I'm just over March. March is my least favorite month of the year. It it feels like purgatory. And
It's a big tease.
It is a big
really
tease because
is.
we've had some really nice days
And it's
really
snowing out there
crummy
tonight.
days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mowed this afternoon.
Oh, really?
Yep. Wow. I wanted to get all the leaves because my yard gets all the
Yeah.
crap in. So I mowed my front and
Well,
then it snowed.
I walked in here tonight and I told Eric I'm really glad I'm doing the podcast tonight because it's way better than being down at Ethan's hockey game tonight.
Ooh.
Right, like starting at 7:30 down at Riverview outdoors.
Horrible.
I mean, I walked from the car into here and it's like windy and the rain's hitting. I guess it's snowing now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big flakes.
So that's
I was
this is
taking
more preferable.
Bellator voice lesson driving out the Parkway to Monroeville, going up the hill just after you go down the hill by the mosque on your right. And I thought I hydroplaned, except it was barely wet, but the wind had blown that hard.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
it was a very, I was going to say 2 hands on the wheel, but that's an exaggeration. But I mean, I could have used 2 hands on the wheel, throwing me to the left.
Wow.
And Bella's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know.
Man, I must have got home right before all this happened.
Yeah, it was very Armageddon-ish.
Came out very quick.
Very different than the weather that we had on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, beautiful.
While Brian and his father were bonding, And Eric and Max were bonding. Duke.
Yep.
Duke.
We took the kids to the park, which was very fun. Shout out to Duke.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
with creepy pizza guy.
Creepy pizza guy.
Got to tell it.
All right, so we're just hanging out at Lions Park, which is off Greensburg Pike. And Duke and I are there. We have Owen there, Maggie there, playing on the playground. And this guy walks up, has rainbow Crocs on, sweatpants, T-shirt.
How old?
Maybe a little younger than me.
Okay.
Mid-30s maybe. Hard to tell because he had a really big beard.
Sure.
And a little bit of a man bun.
Yeah.
And he's eating a piece of pizza. He's just like, walking up and he's like, "Hey, little girl, you want some pizza?" And I'm like, What is happening right now?
He said that?
Yes.
Oh, it gets better.
And he said it to you.
He had one slice?
No, he said it to Meg. Yeah.
He had one slice of pizza or like a whole box?
He had one slice of pizza.
Oh.
Okay. So
This is weird.
And then he starts talking to like the larger group of parents that are over there. He's like, "Hey, I got 6 pizzas in the back of my truck over here if anybody wants. I really don't want to go home with any." And I'm like, what is going on? And then there's this group of parents that's like not there with any kids, just hanging out on lawn chairs by the deck hockey rink that has nobody in it. So they're just like there.
And the Matrix is glitching.
And he has his truck open with pizza. They're all eating pizza.
Wait, they went and got his pizza?
Well, the people over there were just like they're already over there. Like it's like he's a regular and like he knew them. But like the way he approached us, I was like,
Yeah.
Maybe he laced the pizza with acid, and that's why all the parents were sitting there next to the empty deck hockey rink. They're like, "Whoa!"
I guess I don't know because like it was his approach was very weird, and I was like. In my head, I'm like, man, I hope Duke's in go mode right now because, like, this is, I don't know. If he snatches a kid, it's going down.
Duke's like click, click.
Yeah.
Duke's looking at him, and his like lips quivering. He's like, "Go ahead, make my day."
I was just like, what is going on? But
Like the Michael Scott meme when he's just excited. He's like, oh.
no,
He's all excited. But it was gorgeous weather indeed. And
Yes.
Chris and I did go disc golfing, but we got to have, I just had Nick, my assistant coach from the fall. I coached him years ago, married he and his lovely wife, Danielle. He was just going to meet us, but then lo and behold, turns out Nick's birthday, and he brought Danielle and their daughter, Evie. And, I was a little bit nervous because, I know you love kids and everything else, but I didn't want you to be like, "Oh man, who's this guy with his wife and daughter?"
I felt none of that.
And the irony was we did play really slow, but it wasn't because this 2-year-old was walking up 27 flights of stairs, or Danielle, who's all of 4'11", was carrying her. No, it was poor Nick was on his first big boy disc golf course was in the woods and it was just too much for him.
We've all been there. And that is a
was-
long time.
It was joyous, though. I hope he ended up having a good time and not feeling too frustrated.
No, that's who he is.
Okay.
No, he's very pessimistic by nature. But it was a lot of fun for me because the 3 of them, Nick, Danielle, and Evie, are so very special to me that I've had a heart for them for a very long time. And so for them to sort of have the crossover and have them get to meet Chris and,
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
Chris get to meet them. And, I don't even know if you noticed how much that Nick and Danielle don't actually match. Did you pick up on that at all?
Yeah, like in their banter back and forth. And
But yeah,
in their
like Nick's a firefighter. He's a security guard. I always said that, he's just an idiot. I love him. He's a great guy. He's an idiot. She's an Allegheny College grad. She was a 4.0 in high school and in college. And like, everybody's like, it'll never work. And like, they got engaged. They got married. And so, he's 6'3". She's 4'11". She's, a devout Jew. He's an idiot. It's just, and I say that with love. You have no idea. If anybody knows it, he'd say it himself. So that, like, I just love them so much. It was so much fun to get to spend time with them and hang out. And I've just been appreciating relationships a lot lately. Which sounds silly because, like, did I not appreciate them before? But, even how I had to go help volleyball today and just to be there and lift up Todd, and oh man, he got so mad. Oh gosh, I can't even go into that story. I know.
Man, that's I don't know.
shocker.
Oh, he got even. For Todd, he even got mad. It was like as he left the gym to go yell at an administrator, I was like, I probably should have slowed him down a little bit. And then I went, I'm not the head coach, man, but I am his friend. And it was so crazy. I swear they could make a movie out of it.
Oh, a movie.
Boom. Look at that transition. That was a good transition.
We should talk about movies tonight.
Let's do it.
We should. So very often, and it happens the more, here's how you know if you're starting to get it. Getting it. It being emotional responding. Joining somebody in their emotions. Not giving them facts, logic, and reason. Not criticizing them. Not ignoring them. And certainly not stealing their story. You'll know you're getting it when you're watching TV, when you're watching a movie, and you go, oof, that is not good emotional responding. Well, we wanted to lift up positive examples where in movies they get it. And it was really interesting. We put the call out on the Facebook, and we got a lot of responses. Much more than we normally do. People are passionate about movies.
Right.
And so we just want to take a look at them and lift up your favorite movies and why they did. And I didn't say we would do this, but we're going to. We're going to identify what was good about them as far as emotional responding. And there's a few in there that we got listed, and I don't know that they all listen to the podcast anyhow, where it was like, yeah, you liked the movie,
Yeah.
but was it good emotional responding?
Right.
And I think, yeah, because they would just say the movie, and I'm like, okay.
Give me a scene.
Right.
And
But
I
there are
asked
some
that.
in here
Right.
that we can talk about that I'm aware of.
And nobody mentioned your movie.
Chef.
Nope.
Oh.
Oh, what I didn't remember. Inside Out.
You know what? And I almost
yeah.
picked it, but we've already talked about it.
Exactly.
You know?
And I was
'Cause-
going to say that in the preview, or not
Yeah.
the preview, but in the thing, like, what movie besides Inside Out?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we had a bunch of responses because I have the hardest time, like,
Applying emotional needs to your life.
no, okay. Yes. But when I watch TV or a movie, I will like have that conversation with Amy, like, oh, look at that. That was really good. Or, oh, this was terrible. But I have no memory for that sort of thing. I would have to like go and actually rewatch movies to figure out what it is. Same thing with jokes. I hear a funny joke. I can never repeat a joke. I don't know what it is.
You
I don't have a
probably shouldn't
memory.
repeat jokes.
I don't know. I like to steal jokes.
All right.
If I mean, I would like to if I
bad
could
you
remember
can't.
anything. I can't. But anyway,
Well,
the
that's
point
another
is,
whole rabbit hole, though, because my
Yeah.
father could tell a bad joke and it would be hilarious. Like, he could just tell a joke.
it's in the telling.
And and he would be like, if somebody laughs when they tell you a joke, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
But my dad would laugh when he would tell a joke, and you would just be like, yeah, that's so true. And
sounds
you're
like-
like, why am I laughing?
My grandfather was like that. Great storyteller. We are down a rabbit hole. My whole point in saying that was I was really thankful that we had so many responses.
Yeah. Why don't you list one?
All right. Well, I have not seen this, so I can't really go into detail on it. But Christina Madden mentioned Steel Magnolias.
Steel Magnolias.
I do remember this movie. I don't recall everything about it, but I know there's a live play right now in Pittsburgh.
That's
I
based
believe
on the
there
movie.
are Magnolias, perhaps.
Maybe. But I know that Julia Roberts' character has diabetes, I believe. Yeah. I'm not kidding, because at one point I remember, this is so dumb. At one point in the movie, they had to get her
Coke. Orange juice.
Orange juice. And I just remember that. And
Well, and the ladies, so not only Christina Madden, but Faith Milazzo and Cindy Berkshire also said, oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. They're all screaming right now, because it's like,
well, and the gosh, this is so bad. This is so bad. I'll mark it. Hang on.
Mark it down.
The movie takes place like in a hair salon. So all the characters, all the women in the movie are very close with each other, very supportive.
and one has cancer. One dies.
On top of the diabetes?
Yeah, that was separate.
Wow.
Unless she dies.
I always get that one and Driving Miss Daisy mixed
Same
up.
hey,
I was going to say, is it like
Morgan Freeman kills the girl with diabetes.
with orange juice? Too much orange juice.
So he's just, hey, you push the guy down hard, eventually you're going to
Oh my
snap.
gosh.
You're going to snap.
Oh my
but
gosh.
it is a good movie of support and
Yes.
comfort.
Yes.
They do join each other. Like if somebody's the bad guy, they gang up, sort of like the stereotypical, hey, if one woman is offended, the rest are going to be offended on their behalf.
Yeah, yeah.
So
joining each other.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's very much
Sense
a
of
sisterhood
belonging.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of comfort in that movie because there's a lot of sadness in
Yeah.
that movie.
So that's a
which
good
is-
pick. It's a
Yep,
good pick. It's just
solid pick. We're
been
just
a
ignorant.
long time since I've seen it.
Kim Clemens, she sat here at the table and she brought up The Shack. Who has seen The Shack?
I haven't seen it. I read the book.
Yeah, I read the book.
I read part of the book.
Okay. Well, I care enough about this podcast. I watched a clip of the movie.
Oh.
No, she included a clip of the scene on forgiveness. So why don't you give us a little background about what the guy's all mad about?
Somebody kidnapped his daughter.
That'll do it.
Yep. And
Now, who kidnapped her daughter? His.
I can't really remember.
Because it seemed like it was his brother.
No, it,
Maybe in the movie.
it wasn't. Yeah, it was in the book. It was just.
I don't think
person.
he knew.
Yeah.
In the book. Yeah, in the
Oh,
book.
because the scene that Kim forwarded to me was this older guy talking to the guy whose daughter was kidnapped.
I don't remember.
And he
don't
was
remember
saying, you know, they made it seem like it was two brothers. And he was like, and he wanted the other guy to pay for what he had done. So they knew who did it because he wanted to get revenge. Or maybe at least he just wanted to get revenge in general.
Yeah.
And so the guy said, the father, I guess, said to the guy whose daughter was kidnapped, he said, you know, you're not stuck because you can't. You're stuck because you won't. And it was about forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a powerful book.
A lot of people piled onto that one as well.
Yeah.
Big fan. Now, here's the irony of it all. The father did not join him in his emotions at all.
Right.
He was just like, yes, you're angry. It was so observatory. You
Yeah.
know? It was so, yes, you're angry, but this is going to kill you. Facts, logic, and reason. Here's what you need to do. Critical. You know, and I was just like, great message of forgiveness. Outstanding message of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because you see him break.
Yeah.
When he's just like, I do have to forgive him.
And it points to the just the weight of past hurts. And when you don't take that step of forgiveness, then you are, I mean, all of our past hurts are affecting us, but when you aren't moving on, I guess in a
Swallowing poison
forgiving,
and hoping the other person dies.
oh, that's I like it.
It's true.
Interesting, but it's heavy.
On a brighter note,
We have
Kim Mulaski.
Kim Mulaski with Beeches.
yes.
Friends that even if not together all the time or even living near each other, they had each other's back, belonging, encouragement, and support.
Yeah. In the future, go ahead and hold off on reading what's in the parentheses.
Oh, okay.
I've added that.
Oh, okay.
But Beeches, do you guys know about Beeches?
I don't. I remember it being a big deal when I was a kid.
Bette
But
Midler and
Bette Midler. She
this is The Wind Beneath My Wings.
Yeah.
Yep.
never
Yeah.
saw it.
As
Me
four,
neither.
as
seen it
four
once or
very
twice.
strong alpha men, we should absolutely know nothing about this movie. I'll just throw that out.
I was
know
just
the
too
song
young.
because
I'm younger than you guys, so I don't.
You're like, let me be clear. It's not because I'm alpha. I was just a baby.
what about Thelma and Louise?
Well, hold on. Wait. As far as
Good
Beeches-
one.
solid movie. If
But
I mean,
well,
other-
they drive off the cliff together. That's like belonging.
hey, they join each other. The one screwed up.
Sorry,
the other
but
said,
back to
I'm
Beeches.
with you. It's acceptance. Thelma and Louise, because, hey, you killed a guy, but I love you anyhow because you had my back, which is security. Ha, I can go all day. But Beeches, super sad movie. That's why I said let's keep it upbeat because we went right from
Does one of them die?
in most movies, yeah.
Spoiler
I
alert.
don't remember it.
Oops. Yeah, I don't know.
Megan Shema Keim.
Doug's wife,
Yeah.
Dr. Doug.
Oh, Doug.
Not a movie, but Ted Lasso, specifically the Christmas Eve episode. Oh, I read what was in quotes.
Oh, that part you could.
Yeah, I know. Rebecca, the boss lady, knows what Ted is going through, but rather than talking to him about it, she asks him for help in giving gifts away and keeps him from being alone literally and relationally.
There are some episodes in that show that just go that right amount of depth that you like. It's that second level, you know. It's not the superficial sort of comic scenario, because there are those too. But
I've
yeah.
never seen Ted Lasso.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I've only
It's on Apple TV. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, you haven't
thing-
seen it either?
No.
Oh,
bro. It's great.
And I'm
It's-
like 2 degrees from the cast with people that I work with. It's kind of neat.
You're not bragging about it, but you're just saying.
I mean, it's kind of neat.
Facts is facts.
So this episode specifically is Christmas Eve, and the coach is in England, but he's from Oklahoma.
His name's Ted Lasso. I don't know. It's
He's
somewhere
from
with
Middle
cowboys.
And so he's separated away from his wife, and the big boss lady who owns the team, you know, realizes he's going to be alone, and he's such a positive figure, but he's sad, and so she gives away presents every year, which is kind of funny because she's a larger than life character that's sort of the rich that wouldn't care about the poor.
Now, is this second season or first season?
I don't know, but it's
I don't
the one I'm
remember.
talking about.
Because if it's in first season, he's going through like divorce too. Like
I didn't want to spoil it for him.
he may or may not be going through divorce.
And so he's wallowing in his apartment alone,
Yes.
but she comes, honks, gets him out of the house, and helps give away all these presents.
Yeah.
And so rather than telling him, oh, look, I've been through this before, I know just how you feel, she engages him.
Right.
So it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant move.
Kind of support.
Oh, it's comfort, it's support, because it's just
Belonging.
She doesn't allow him to be alone.
Right.
But she doesn't tell him that.
Right.
She just engages him in the activity
Right.
of giving away and having meaning and everything else. And it was just very, very, very well done.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway, I'll
I
do
do
the-
want to watch it. I just,
Solid show. Hey, we
Somebody
put it off
give
for
me
a
a-
couple years too.
So
give me a
Monica
login.
Aiello, Mulaski Aiello, Under the Tuscan Sun. Anybody know it?
Nope.
Nope. I
I've
recognize
heard.
the
I've heard
title.
of it. Yeah, but
So I asked her why, I asked her what, and so I'm simply going to read what she wrote.
okay. I'm gonna sit back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She describes it quite well.
She does. Hopefulness. She brings people together under adverse circumstances, and the love of family, and family-like atmosphere, turns her house into a home. All right. Frances, an American writer, ends up divorced and unable to write. A friend convinces her to use her ticket on a gay tour of Italy because she is pregnant and can't travel.
That's a sentence, man.
On the tour, she ends up purchasing a fixer-upper villa near Tuscany. She hires a crew of Polish immigrants to repair the villa. Chain of comical events. The crew, made up of interesting characters, become her friends. There are several side stories, like the elderly gentleman who brings flowers daily in memory of his deceased wife that she cannot even get a nod from, but eventually wins his approval. Another side story is a faucet that doesn't work, starts to work when life falls into place. Her pregnant girlfriend arrives after her relationship with her partner ended. The young Polish immigrant falls in love with a local girl, but is forbidden love because of his ethnicity and because he has no family. Francis convinces the girl's parents that she is his family and that he has a future. Frances had a dream for the house to eventually get married, raise a family. She realizes all that is coming to life because of the amazing friends, workers, and locals. The villa hosts the wedding of the Polish immigrant local girl and the birth of her girlfriend's baby, and Frances has found her happiness. She kicks back at the wedding just as another American writer shows up at her door. He heard about her buying the villa and wants to meet her, which opens her up to being able to be happy again at the prospect of a romantic relationship. Monica knows that we're probably wondering how this fits into our theme, but it's comical, romantic, and all about how complete strangers come together to become a family, have hope and love amidst tragedy and despair.
I would like Monica Aiello to write a synopsis for pretty much any movie. Like that's. I was
I'm
thinking
wondering-
she's writing this. I'm like, I bet she could do Mamma Mia.
I wonder if any of that was cut and pasted. It was very, very
It was
thorough.
in depth, and that's a pretty crazy movie.
I caught some things in there though, like
Gay Parade?
Well, I've always got
No,
my
sorry,
eyes
Gay
out.
Tour.
Yeah, it was a great sentence. Absolutely.
I heard approval in here, right?
Yeah, but different kind of approval.
Oh,
There was, but there. Where was it?
It seems like a lot of support,
A lot of support. Thank you.
a lot of encouragement, some belonging because they're sort of vouching. They're vouching. Hey, this guy's okay. He's all right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll have to put that on my to watch list.
Well, now I do.
Yeah.
Jerry Macbeth, Stand By Me, great movie about children fumbling their way through this issue and sadly the consequences of not dealing. This is a great movie. This is a
is.
very, I think, has everybody seen it at the table?
It's been a minute.
It's a very coming of age movie. Preteen boys.
Wasn't that Charlie Sheen, River Phoenix?
Not Charlie Sheen. Will Wheaton.
That's Will Wheaton.
Oh man,
Oh man,
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together because I was like, I wonder who played that guy.
It was Will Wheaton and Corey Feldman.
Kiefer
River
Sutherland.
Phoenix, right?
Yeah, River Phoenix.
Yeah, River Phoenix was in it, yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland
Feldman,
is
that's
the
right.
bad guy.
Oh
You know,
man,
the older bad kid.
that's right.
Yep. But they're all in search for this dead body that's along the train tracks.
And
they
there are
just go on the
moments in
adventure.
it. I mean, these are like preteen boys I mean, there's times where they're like swearing at each other and not being nice to each other, but there are other times where there is like, and of course
Support.
they're on this adventure together, so that camaraderie,
Yeah.
that you know, they're going through this crazy event together.
Shared experience, you would say.
Yeah, shared. That's the technical term.
Yeah.
Shared experience.
And the
brings them-
leeches.
Oh, the leeches.
That's all I
bro.
can. That's the number one thing. She said that, and I
man.
wrote it on the Facebook.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, and a very unfortunate leech.
I think
scene.
any boy who watched that movie, as we all probably did when we
Oh,
were younger,
man.
were like, never going in a pond
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Do you know that I had a leech on me once?
I did not.
I did.
In your underwear?
Big toe. And that's not being figurative.
Okay.
It was my big toe. No, I was in Canada. And it was
Oh.
unseasonably warm. And I was fishing, literally standing in the lake. And I looked down. I'm like, oh, there's a leaf on my toe. And so I went to get it off. And I was like, well, it's not coming off. And then I was like, oh, no. And so then
I've heard it doesn't hurt.
not at all. Didn't even know it was there.
So wild.
So I couldn't grab it off. Couldn't take it off. So I had to take my knife out. And I scraped it off. And then there were 2 little beads. And the blood just poured out from there.
Wow. That's so wild.
Yeah.
But that's a great movie.
Lot of belonging.
Lardass, the scene, the story that he tells, the little
The
story.
blueberry pie.
Yeah.
Is
Just
that
fan-
Puke Bart Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Puke Fest.
Yeah, Puke Fest.
Yeah.
Everybody
He was getting his revenge.
everybody was puking blueberry pie regardless of whether they actually ate blueberry pie.
Because it started with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
he had eaten raw eggs and like canola oil like right before he had the pie contest.
Right.
It was so great, so funny.
That scene had nothing to do with emotional responding, although it did have to do
No.
with his past hurts.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it because they're all chanting. But that was written by Stephen King. That's one of those Stephen King movies that's not Stephen
Yeah, you
King
wouldn't
esque.
think it unless
Kind of
you...
like The Green Mile. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
Stephen
Shawshank Redemption,
Shawshank.
which was coming up on the list.
Oh, I didn't even know Shawshank was Stephen King.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about that one.
Really?
And he's the guy. He's the cameo at the end. Who's writing at the end?
Yes.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
He's the Will Wheaton's character grown
As an
up
adult.
As an adult.
Not a great actor.
You said writing at the end. I thought you meant Shawshank.
Stephen
Yeah, I was gonna
King.
say, I
not
don't
Will.
remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember that.
No,
Yeah, I
still
didn't
still
remember
on
that.
Stand By Me.
Yeah, Stephen King. Not a great actor. Still love his cameos though. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Doug Kirsten, quick story. Doug is a guy that Rachel and I were reaching out to and trying to win him over for Christ. He was a check-in person at Children's Hospital when we were there with Trey. And then I got really, really mad one day when I found out that he was already a Christian. And I was wasting a lot of time. We had nicknamed him Wordsworth because he was always reading. And then like one day it was C.S. Lewis. And I was like, you know, Sin? He was like, and he's super devout Christian. I was like, what a waste of my time. And given that, he points out the hunt for the wilder people
Never
or wilder people.
heard of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this one up while you read.
Young boy by the name of Ricky Baker. It's a good name, Ricky Baker, who had spent most of his life in foster homes, has a new placement with his older couple that lives in rural New Zealand. And a tragic event brings Ricky and Heck, the male figure, both at odds with one another and revealing how they need each other.
Yeah, this one's on Netflix actually. More recent, 2016, so not too long ago at this point.
So I'd say acceptance, I suppose. Support, if they're comfort.
Let's see. They're at odds with each other, but then they also realize their need for each other. Belonging.
Yeah, well, belonging. Sure.
Yeah.
And then he says, also Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a
I've
comment on
never
the movie.
seen it.
I have to admit, I never have either.
That's
It's
Robin
been a minute.
Williams.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I don't know if it holds.
I don't remember. No idea.
I'll check it
I
out.
saw it. It's a good movie.
But Hunt for the Wilder People, 97% on the Rotten Tomatoes and 91% with the audience score. So you know it's got to be good then.
Yeah, I would ignore the actual Rotten Tomatoes score.
It's always the audience. Go with the audience.
You know the quintessential scene though in Dead Poet Society where they're standing up on the
Captain,
desks?
my captain.
Yes, and they join each other standing on the desks, standing on the desks.
In defiance and in support.
Yes. Have you guys ever seen the SNL spoof
No.
where they start standing up in support of their teacher on their desks?
No.
And you think
Sounds
this?
hilarious.
It would
you
have been
think-
funny to see.
You think it? You had to be there. No, you think it's gonna be. I mean, you know it's gonna be funny because it's SNL, but you also it's a heartfelt scene, and how are they gonna spin this into some like funny intellectual way? No, the one kid just gets his head chopped off by a ceiling fan because he's standing on the desk.
Is it obviously an older
That doesn't
skit?
happen in the movie.
Skit? Yeah, right.
No, it's not that old. It's just a couple years old. I don't know. It's great.
Oh, Sally Her up next.
Oh, Sally Her. I know her.
And she's going
Yeah.
current movie.
Chris, go ahead, take that one.
Yeah. Another one I haven't seen, but I've seen it on.
Commercials?
Yeah.
Yeah.
80 for Brady.
Heard it was outstanding.
Yeah. Older women who are decide. Was it they wanted to go see Brady before he retired, or
I believe
what
Well-
was the storyline?
I think they were just old and trying to. I don't know. Like it just when I saw it, I was like, it's like The Hangover for 80-year-old women.
Are you being funny?
No, no, that's what I
is that
thought.
what-
Because your mother says
She said it was great.
Yeah, so Sally says they ended up going to the game, but the journey of their trip was filled with fun, love, and supporting each other. I, meaning her, thought it was going to be like some of those dumb men movies, i.e. The Hangover.
See,
But-
great minds.
It was sweet. What's so funny was I didn't want to go. Her sister Phyllis wanted to see it, and no one wanted to go, so I went because I
In
love her.
support.
And
Exactly. That's why I
there you
included
go.
that personal
Yeah.
note of hers.
Beautiful.
The irony is she went out of support for her family member belonging and ended up being blessed by it. I think the one lady's got cancer and she wants to see him before he dies.
That's interesting. So the Rotten Tomatoes has it at 60%.
Ooh.
Audience score 89. So that's solid.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was the cool kids table at the 9 a.m. service. We're talking about it and said it was pretty good.
All right.
nice.
Wendy Mack, Jerry and Marge go large.
No clue. Anybody?
No.
A retired married couple finds a loophole in winning the lottery and involve their small struggling community helping their neighbors and local businesses. It's a true story.
I definitely want to watch it now that I know that it's a true story. It sounds pretty cool. And it's 2022. It's not old at all.
Janet Amato mentioned Shawshank, which we also mentioned, and that's support.
I mean, Shawshank has a lot.
Yeah.
You have support from different inmates supporting, you have, what's the main character's name?
Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne showing respect and belonging on the roof as he barters
I think
tax
it's only
services
right
for beer.
a man after a hard day's work to have a cold one.
Yep. So there's that. There's Andy supporting and encouraging the younger inmate to get his GED.
Yep. And get some shot.
Yeah.
And early on, especially, what's Morgan Freeman's character's name?
Red.
Red is like a lifeline
Yeah.
for Andy. Like, I don't know what.
Big support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then they all go free or get free, and in the end he joins them. So I mean, I think that would be belonging. He's trying to get back to his friend.
Say what?
Say Wataneu.
Man, that's such a good movie.
I would have loved to have seen a sequel to that. Did you hear that they were going to make a sequel to Forrest Gump?
Yes, I
you hear
heard it. Yeah,
Like
it sounds
they're thinking about doing it.
No, it was written. It was all ready to go into production.
It sounded the most
included-
horrible thing.
I mean, that his son dies of AIDS
because Jenny had
Jenny.
AIDS.
because Jenny had AIDS.
Yeah.
What were the other things?
Lieutenant Dan gets voted in as a politician, but
Then
then
he gets assassinated.
He gets assassinated.
They chop off his arms.
And he ends up in a remake.
Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no arms.
Then he ends up in a remake of A League of Their Own as first base.
They throw him in the water and call him Bob.
And then
Skip.
so after Forrest,
What else does he do?
he falls in love with a woman who
Right.
then dies in the Oklahoma City bombing.
No, that's how he dies.
No,
Forrest Gump was going to
he
die.
doesn't die. He ends up pulling bingo balls at some place.
Oh, I thought they said he died.
No,
sitting-
it was his next wife.
right.
So his next wife dies in the Oklahoma City bombing. Here's the kicker.
The reason why it didn't get made.
They literally delivered the script the day before 9/11.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, all right, let's table
The
this.
whole movie is the darkest movie,
Yeah.
because it's not
terrible.
It's not a horror movie.
Yeah.
But it's the darkest movie plot I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was
it
pretty
sounded
bad.
awful. Why would
And it was going to be like Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it was like ready to go.
Ugh.
Well, good thing.
It wasn't made.
Yeah. Not good thing for 9/11, but just good. We're gonna leave it
Yep,
there. I'm
just leave it
sorry.
there.
Just
So
leave
next
it
up,
there.
we
So
got.
Chris, what you're saying is, thank God 9/11 happened.
No,
Is that
I'm
what
not
you're
saying
saying?
that.
My
I'm
God.
Man,
not
Chris.
saying that.
Kinda
Oh
sounds
my
like it,
gosh.
Chris.
That doesn't sound.
Dude, okay, so Heather Ash, Lars,
good, yeah.
and the real girl. Chris, this is
This
you.
Hold on,
this movie.
AKA Heather Krogh. Before your time, go on.
Oh, I know Heather Crow.
Margie?
I didn't know. I know her maiden name. I didn't know that's the same person.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hello.
I was so happy when
Hello.
I saw Heather mention this movie because it is a niche movie.
Oh, it seems like it.
Yeah, it was. I looked it up. It was from 2007. I have actually seen it, but it's from 2007, so it's been a while. And it was not. It was like a flop, in the box office. But it was critically acclaimed. And if you watch it, you could. I mean, it's a very well done, and it's like one of those almost artsy movies, but not so artsy that you're like.
It sounds artsy.
It's not pretentious. There's no.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's very down.
It doesn't
to earth.
insist upon itself.
Yeah, it's very.
That's nice.
And the characters are so cool. But okay, so there's this dude who.
Lars?
Yes. How'd you know?
I knew.
His mom died giving birth to him. So there's all kinds of details, right? Like that he is a super ooper duper invert, right? He does not like to talk to people, doesn't like to go out. He's very awkward. He keeps, his mom made him a baby blanket, while she was pregnant with him, that he now wears as a scarf everywhere because it's just a little baby blanket, right? So it's almost like Linus's safety blanket,
Yeah.
right? And
Security.
basically, he's already, his family's wondering about his mental state when he says, "Oh, I met a girl and she's visiting and want you to meet her." And he brings over to his brother's house his new doll.
What kind of doll?
It's a real girl doll.
It's
like a
girl doll.
silicone.
Heather
real-
described it as a sex doll.
Right, and not not the blow up kind, like the
Hello.
really like realistic looking.
Oh,
like
like the ones from Taiwan.
I don't know, but it's like not like. I'm just saying he spent a lot of money on this, but literally in the movie anyway, you have to, at least in my sense of it, you have to suspend your sense of reality a little bit to. I don't know how you go this deep into a delusion, but he is in it, man.
Right. This guy's obviously mentally
Yes.
unstable.
So the meeting emotional needs comes in from the community that it starts with a small church group actually, and they decide along with his brother and his wife to just sort of support it. Under like this,
They play along.
psychologist advice, right?
The therapist.
Right?
So they buy
And-
into his delusion.
They pretend
They
that
don't,
she's real.
but they play into it, yeah.
They play into it.
Because according to the therapist psychologist, he'll be done with it when he is comfortable being done with it. So it's funny because at first the doll becomes like his sort of safety net, right? She's with him everywhere, and it sort of brings him out of his shell actually a little bit. But then in an effort to sort of like get him away from the doll a little bit, the community, some community people start pulling her away, like in a positive way, but like
Card club.
yeah, she gets a part-time job as a model mannequin.
Yeah.
At a clothing boutique 3 days a week.
Womanikin.
She goes to woman. Okay, all right. She goes to she volunteers at the hospital 1 day a week. So like these people are just coming and picking up his doll to like take
her to
her to
work.
these places, right? And so
Then she cheats on him. Oh, it got really backwards. And it was just-
it's really sweet because I mean it's honestly it's all based on his past hurt. He feels guilt, so it's all about his guilt over his mom dying when he was born.
Yeah.
And so basically his entire life, the way that he is, has manifested itself because of how he thinks it was his fault, and
Sounds intense.
It is intense, but it's also beautiful,
Yeah.
and the community coming together, and it's just like it's such a cool, heartwarming way that they were there for him.
What was the more recent Steve Carell movie where he plays the war veteran guy and he has all the dolls and reenactments? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Because I feel like that movie is kind of the same plot, but with like a different, slightly different story. No sex doll in this
Less
one.
mannequin-y.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. But the same thing. Hurts from the past, and he's living this like alternative lifestyle, and the community kind of.
And certainly the Lars movie, I mean, it's a whole lot of acceptance, loving somebody, even, I gotta say that it's screwed up, but, you know, like, despite somebody's faults.
Yeah.
Because it's not normal.
That's what came to me
that.
was acceptance, absolute acceptance that they like.
But also, you know, as you're describing it, as I'm reading what Heather wrote, you know, it's almost 2 degrees security as well. Like, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to not be okay, for lack of a less cliche term. And that let him grieve, to let him mourn and let him heal. And then, you know, have the courage and the strength of support that we're going to join you in your life. We're going to come alongside, because life right now is too hard for him.
Right. No matter how weird it is.
So we as a village,
Right.
we're going to come alongside you and support you and help you through this time period.
It does sound incredible.
And it's sort of like, you know, it's a movie, so maybe it's a little over the top, or maybe it's a little simplified, or whatever. But it's a really cool resolution. How because of how they treated him, because of how they supported him, he comes out of it in the end like the psychologist gave him an out. Like she went. They first took the doll to her to get checked out. She said, well, she has low blood pressure and she has like a condition. And so it almost became like it was on him how long she was going to be around.
Yeah.
And so in the end, actually, the doll died.
Wow, he kills every woman he's around.
But he ends up dating a coworker and like.
So bad.
It's.
Is there any like actors? I mean, like anybody recognizable?
Yeah. It's
that guy. That
Did
girl.
she say in here? I forget who it is. Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Ryan Gosling.
interesting.
And other recognizable people, too. But like,
Does Ryan Gosling play the sex doll?
how'd you know? No, he's Lars. But like, it could have been, his life could have been, okay, this dude went crazy, so we're going to institutionalize him, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And instead he comes out okay. Like, it's just kind of, it's a sweet way of, even if it's a caricature, it's showing that.
Acceptance would be a big one, I
Yeah.
would imagine.
Support.
Yep.
Belonging.
Yep.
Comfort.
Security.
What about Duke?
Duke, it's funny. So I wrote down the same thing that Duke texted me. I'm not kidding, like 5 minutes later. Wow. And I was like, dang it. But yes, that's awesome that we were thinking the same one. But Good Will Hunting is Duke's. And
More Robin Williams.
yeah, and if you've never seen Good Will Hunting, I highly recommend this movie. It is a great movie, but the plot is Will, played by Matt Damon, is a savant. Is that the right word? He's
That
a
sounds right.
genius
Yeah.
in math, and he's a blue collar guy. He's been raised, in Boston, and his brother is, they're construction workers, and he's a janitor at a college, and
I love that it's old enough now that a lot of people haven't seen it.
yeah,
Because as you're saying, I'm like, dude, everybody knows, except they don't.
yeah, and it's found out that he has this gift of being very, very smart. Like he literally is like kind of has like what it sounds like a photographic memory of just reading a book and knowing everything about the book. And he's so smart that he gets himself in trouble. But man, it's funny because like I don't want to give away everything.
He has
but
a tortured past.
he's a tortured past, tortured childhood, and
Has not had a lot of comfort.
yeah. And so this professor guy that is working with him with all the math stuff pairs him up with Robin Williams, who is a therapist. And there's a moment at the end of the movie where Robin says, "It's not your fault." And Matt is just like, "Yeah, I know." and Robin says it again, like it's not your fault. Yeah. I know.
Okay, I've seen this scene.
And then
What,
like
you haven't seen the whole movie?
No,
and then
I know there's something wrong with me.
dude, it's so good. And it gets to the point where like I think Matt kind of realizes that Robin has come from the same past, and they just break down and cry together. And it's
Because
just this
Matt Damon
beautiful-
knows, he goes, oh, okay, you're doing the whole it's not my fault thing because
Right.
he's so smart. He understands the therapist's what he's doing. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not your fault. And, he's kept,
Right.
and he eventually breaks it.
It just breaks him, and he just has this release, and it's a great ending to the movie.
But even in Matt Damon's
that's-
Will's friend group, you know, there's a lot of belonging there. Like
Yes.
they are together. They fight other
Yep.
guys when they're insulted.
Yep.
You know, but they want what's best for each other.
Yep.
You know, that I pray every day when I pull up that you don't come out of the house.
Yep.
That you've done something
That
with your life.
that you've taken your talent and you've gotten out of here, because I can't do that. They buy him a car. It's the crappiest car you've ever seen, but it's a gift that's like from all their savings that they could have like put together.
One of two movies that helped me to really decide to ask Rachel to marry me. Because I was in Colorado at the time.
Working
and
as a janitor.
spoiler alert. He said,
Super
and
smart at math.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, I got to go see about a girl.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was be with Rachel at that time. And I'm like, well, if I'm in the greatest state, you know, Colorado, mountains, everything else, but all I want to do is go be with her. Maybe I should make her mine.
Man, how about them apples?
Oh, Eric,
Yeah.
it's time.
Is it? Well, we still have Brian with Goodfellas.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah. So it's an
Why'd you go Italian?
And,
Yes.
and,
yes.
and there's also Jay, but we can go in any order. Whoever wants to go.
So I went with Goodfellas because it's an anti, but
It's also
it just glaringly sticks out. Well, so Ray Liotta, his character, he starts off like the movie starts off and he's young, and he sees the mob doing the mob things, like his dad beats him, and you know, so he doesn't really want to be at his house, so he's looking for belonging.
Yeah.
He's looking for acceptance, and so he starts to see those things in the mob, you know, and he ends up finding it, like these mob bosses and, you know, good fellas and wise guys take him in. And there's one scene for me with him where he gets busted, goes to jail, does his time, and then when he comes out of jail, or maybe it's in the courtroom. No, I think it's when he comes out of jail or whatever, and they're all waiting there for him. And they're all like, yeah, you did it.
yeah. He didn't
You
rat
know?
on anybody.
He didn't rat on anybody, and they're like,
Yeah.
you did it, you know. And it's like you could just see him just glowing with this acceptance and this belonging
Yeah.
from these people that he respects and wants to be around. The anti would be
Every other scene.
every other scene, specifically like Joe. And so Joe Pesci's character, Tommy, he needs to be respected. And
Oh,
he's
so much respect.
such a hothead.
So much.
Magnolias.
You know, right?
get your shine
There's the
box.
clown scene. There's the shine. I was going to go to those two scenes. You know, and he, if he has the slightest hint that you're disrespecting him,
Oh,
or like
To 100.
the kid waiting on him, you know, like just ends up shooting this kid. Like
oh
he
my
looks
gosh,
at
yeah,
him
I forgot
funny.
about that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, go get your shine box
I
Don't do
love
that
that
no
you.
more.
I love that you picked this one though, because when you talk about acceptance, he's not getting it
at home.
at home
No,
where
his
he
dad's
should
beating
be,
him. Yep.
and he's not getting it with friends at school. So this is how people fall in. He's actually, if you've listened to past episodes, he's actually kind of like stealing it for himself.
He's getting it wherever he can.
Right. So he's getting it from the mafia, where he's not getting the acceptance and belonging that he should have. That's why I think it's
In-
great. It's
in the home.
perfect. It's a perfect example.
He did not get probably the 40 things that a young person.
He did not hit the 27.
Yeah,
He did not.
26, just one short.
Yep.
27, a whole different story.
A whole different story. He would have been a pastor.
Larianne, our good friend, said she just late entry here 2 minutes ago. Brian's song.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
Me neither.
yeah.
She goes, the whole
Gail
movie is about
Sayers.
being there for someone when they are emotionally and physically bankrupt, lifting up and even carrying another.
Bankrupt's a good word for that.
That was James Caan too.
Sad movie,
Sad movie.
uplifting, I suppose. But for me, I would like to point out A very overlooked movie, which is As Good as It Gets.
It is a good movie.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt. Ironically, the other movie that helped me decide to marry Rachel, I watched it at the same time I was in Colorado. And because in this movie, and not that Rachel is autistic like Jack Nicholson, but he is this crazy, eccentric, super obsessive compulsive kind of a guy. And everybody hates him because he freaks out about his obsessive compulsiveness. And he befriends Helen Hunt, who is his waitress. And he ends up doing something nice for her and they fall in love. And it's a wonderful story of acceptance because, you know, he's impossible to love, but yet she does because she sees his heart within him and it works out for them. But yeah, because Rachel and I are very different in a lot of ways.
Sounds like you and Rachel.
In a lot of ways.
You're kind of impossible to love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so much more outgoing and loving and, you know, soft and bubbly. And I'm just this grizzled old guy who doesn't want anyone to mess with him. So that was it for me. Also, Glory. Matthew Broderick.
I love that movie. Tell me what angle you're...
For the respect that first
I've never seen that one.
You know, first he respects them for his own gain because he's this sort of renegade,
Right.
whatever he was.
Isn't Morgan
Major.
Freeman in that too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Lots
one.
of
That's
guys.
one of those
Denzel
ones that.
Washington.
Denzel Washington. What you
Yeah.
been doing since you was freed? I ran for president. Of course, I didn't win.
Yeah, I need to see that.
But so he stands up for the all black battalion,
Yeah.
but it's for his own gain. But then so he fights for them, but by the end of the movie, he fights with them. And
That's cool.
And dies alongside them. And just an amazing display of respect.
Another true story.
Not that it was Matthew Broderick. He wasn't in the Civil War, but
No,
they're
but
depicting.
he portrays.
Denzel Washington never has run for president, though I would vote for him. And lastly, and this is a big one for me, this is an anti, and I would say, whereas you had some positives in your Goodfellas, Adrian in any Rocky scene ever.
You can't win.
You can't win. You're the worst. And she's always taking him away. It's always about her. It's like the single worst character in movie
She
history.
is the worst.
Hannibal Lecter, fine. But not Adrian. She just dragged him down all the time.
You know, she's always happy for him at the end, but never in any of the process of.
It's easy to be happy when somebody
Yeah.
completes the mission,
Yeah.
but
Never supportive.
So I'm kind of glad Duke sent Good Will Hunting because then it sparked another movie that I love very, very much.
So good.
Called
Chief.
Chef. Who are the Chiefs? Chef is one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie. But it's about a guy named Carl, and he felt that he was no longer being appreciated or allowed to express his creativity in the restaurant where he worked. He was also struggling to balance his work and personal life, and he felt disconnected from his son, Percy. He was so focused on his job that he neglected his family and failed to attend important events in his son's life. So he has a falling out at his restaurant, and he quits the restaurant that he works at. And Carl's ex-wife, Inez, is one of his biggest supporters, so high support, and encourages him to start his own food truck business and helps him with the logistics and planning, so more support. She also provides emotional support and helps him reconnect him with their son Percy, that's such a fun relationship to watch, like come back together as that happens, because
Doesn't he start working with him in the food truck?
yes, he becomes a pivotal help of, like, Percy knows social media, and he's like telling people where they're going to be, where the food truck's going to be, and getting people to come in. More support from his friend Martin, who used to work in the same kitchen as him, but Martin came and joined him and supported him on the food truck, and with all that was a sous chef at the restaurant. And it's just like it's such a fun, good feeling movie.
I feel like the acting is so authentic.
It's
like
so good.
It's very believable.
And it's got a great cast. John Favreau, what's her name? Sofia Vergara, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr.
It's one of
It's
those
like-
movies that
It's crazy.
I did not intend to watch it. It was just like on.
yeah.
John
And I was
Leguizamo.
like, oh, there's
Yeah.
this movie starting. Okay, whatever. and then I'm just like watching the whole thing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And-
Can't believe you haven't seen it, Jay. And you're the chef.
I know, it's crazy.
And it's all about emotional needs and helping people through, like, come and support. It's so good. And the ending is great. I don't know the guy who plays the food critic. I know his face, but I don't know
Oliver
his...
Platt.
Okay. And he
yeah.
was great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was great.
It's-
And
Molten. the breakdown is so
yeah,
good.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, Dustin.
Yeah.
Like the cast is phenomenal. But
Yeah.
John Favreau wrote, directed, and starred in it. Mm-hmm. So pretty cool.
So as we wrap it up, what movie that we talked about tonight that you have not seen would you just short of commit to seeing in the future?
Chef. Let me go back through the list.
Looking.
I mean,
I
I'm
think-
tempted by the Lars movie. No,
Honestly,
wait,
Oh, definitely. I'm tempted by the Lars movie.
I might go with Glory because I've never seen it.
such a good movie.
You've never seen it either?
I might go with Rocky. I'm just kidding. I've seen that.
Dude, the day before they go off to battle. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, man.
Lord.
I mean, that it's just I'm a Civil War buff and Civil War era buff anyway.
We still met.
And that movie is
We
like
still met.
some.
Yeah.
It's one of
I
my
think
top 5.
think I'll watch
Glory
that
is already on my radar.
All right.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like Braveheart. It took a long, like, I didn't see Braveheart for a long time.
And it took
I
a long time to
finally
watch
did.
it too.
Yeah, but it's, man, that's a great movie.
You Braveheart.
You Braveheart. But I think it's a kind of a tie for me. Hunt for the Wilder People or Lars and the Real Girl. Because those are two I hadn't heard of, and they sound really interesting to me.
I gotta go. I can't believe I haven't seen Good Will Hunting, so I gotta watch
dude.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to see that.
Yeah.
That or Goodfellas. I haven't even seen Goodfellas.
What
is wrong with me?
Gosh.
I know the funnies. You
Go
know,
get your shine box.
You a clown? You think I'm a clown? Am I funny to you?
Am I here to amuse you?
There's so many
Funny
gifts from that movie.
Ha ha,
too.
funny.
Oh, so many gifts.
Ah.
Yep.
And gifts.
Yeah.
I can't pull myself to watch the Under the Tuscan Sun one though.
It sounds like a haul. Like that's a long. That's a.
Oh,
a
I think
lot.
like a Hallmark movie. I'm like, yeah, on acid.
I want to see if Amy's seen it.
Yeah, I'd go Lars.
Lars.
Yeah. I think that's you gotta. If you haven't
It
seen
sounds
that,
so
you gotta watch it.
fascinating.
It's bizarre.
Plus, I
and
saw My
awesome.
Mannequin or Mannequin.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much same movie.
Like 80s?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, with what's her name?
The mermaid lady? Wasn't she in the mermaid movie?
No,
No.
Daryl Hannah.
No. I don't know.
she was in
Daryl Hannah was
Sex
in
and the
Splash.
City. What's her name?
Kim Cattrall.
That's it. She was the mannequin.
Wow, that
Kim
was so
Cattrall.
bad of me.
Okay.
That is not my best masculine moment. You know, in Cougar Town, they called that, well,
And that's how we like to wrap up episode 196. Ooh, we're closing in on 200.
We are.
Thanks for joining us. And if
regular
you can,
Goodwill Hunting over there.
It's a beautiful mind.
make
different
sure,
movie.
if you can, give us a like or follow on social media. Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. Is that working?
It should be.
Except if you're in Jay's house on his computer.
I couldn't get it to work earlier, to be honest.
Except if you're Chris.
Yeah. You could also check us on Substack, right? Substack.com slash.
Lunchtime in Rome.
Substack.com.
Substack.com. Lunchtime in Rome. Substack.com. Nobody cares.
And wherever you find us, take our relational needs questionnaire. Thanks for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.